so when we are looking at mode for a categorical distribution, right, our mode is the category that occurs most often in this distribution. Similar to numerical distributions, we can classify data by the number of modes that are present. Before, when we were dealing with numerical distributions, our mounds or modes did not need to be the same height. But when we're dealing with categorical data, the modes must now be roughly the same height. So that is kind of the difference between these two. Right? When dealing with categorical data, we can have the same type of classifications that we saw before. We can have unimodal distributions that has one distinct mode. We can have bimodal distributions that have two modes. And then we can also have multimodal distributions. Right. Again, when we're dealing with multiple modes, they have to have the same or very similar frequencies. Right. So in our first example here for this section, in 2008, a study from the Pew Research Center interviewed 2,413 Americans and asked what economic class they identified with. In 2012, the Pew survey asked a new group of 2,508 Americans which economic class they identified with. Right, so what is our typical response in 2008? Again, we use the word typical when we're thinking about our mode, right, which is our most frequent. So that is going to be middle class because it has the highest frequency. Right, so highest frequency here. We look over here. We also have a typical or mode of the middle class. Right, now in the last part of this question, how would we compare the responses in 2012 with the responses in 2008? Right, so if we're looking at this, in 2008, it looks like 50% or maybe a little bit more identified as middle class. Maybe about 25% lower class, about 20% upper class, right? And a very few that don't know. If we look at here, instead of having 25%, well, now this is a little over 30%. Instead of having 50% or more, we're a little under 50%. And our upper class has also gone down maybe a tiny bit, it looks like, from over there. So our middle class, right, in 2008 compared to 2012, there appear to be slightly less people that identify as middle class. We have more lower class and less upper class as well. Right, so when we are summarizing our data, we may be looking for different things such as mode. We may be asked to compare some different things. Right? So once we have our, in this case, bar charts, we're able to do some comparisons between the two.